Hey guys, I am at a place here called Midnight Pass. I'm sure if you've been following my videos and my blog that you know about it because I write about it a lot, but it's one of my favorite places. It's really right in my backyard here in Sarasota, and it's pretty cool because it's a private beach basically that you can only really get to by boat. And you either can go like those boats down there and just beach your boat in that small little area and then walk over the dunes and you're on the Gulf, or you can find a place like this that has a little path through the mangroves and kind of explore. There's better paths than this one, but today's pretty crowded, so this is the only one I could find. But before I do that, I wanted to show you and give you a little review on this classic Boston Whaler that I'm on right now. Again, if you follow my videos and my posts and stuff, the boat that I'm on is the boat that I grew up with. It's the boat that my dad bought when I was 16 years old, and it's back in the family, so to speak, and it's so great. And I'm excited to have it, and I'm excited to show you more adventures using it. But I kind of wanted to show you the boat today, specifically the boat, the pros and cons, and why these classic Boston Whalers are so awesome, and just kind of give you a little review. So I guess what I'll do is I'll start in the bow. And I'm just going to speak since I don't have anyone else to film me. But that's the bow of the boat. And what's nice about it is it's pretty big. I mean, for the size of a boat that it is, it's 17 feet long. The actual length is 16 feet 7 inches. But it's got some good space. You can put a cushion over that front so it's more comfortable for people, or you can just leave it like it is. Basically, in here, you have a bow locker. Doesn't have much storage for your anchor, throwable, whatever else you have in there. These classic Whalers came with the teak bow locker cover, but starting in, I think, 1988, I believe, they changed this to fiberglass. You may have still had an option for it, but I believe, I don't know if you had an option for it or not in the teak after that, but some people like the teak better, some people like the fiberglass. Great locker, kind of gives it good character up here. One of the things that's missing, that's actually a negative to this boat, is there's no actual cleat up in front, if you noticed. What we have here is what they call a bow Norman pin, and this bow Norman pin is just where you rope off to, so it's kind of weird. When I was younger, we had this boat in a slip behind our house, and what we would do is we just had 4 dock lines to the boat, and we would just have like brass clips, and we would just clip into here. But anyways, but that's just something. Some people put aftermarket cleats on, but I still keep this thing as original as I can. And then the bow light is great. Another thing that's fantastic about these boats is the quality of the parts. I mean, these are brass parts that are coated in stainless steel. This is brass from the very beginning, and it's not coated with anything. But the quality of the parts and the stainless steel and everything on these old boats, just amazing. And the fact that they use teak, they use mahogany, you can't really do that today without really spending an arm and a leg. And Boston Whaler doesn't do that today, with the exception of little teak accent pieces on their boats. This bow rail is actually problematic. This is a negative. It's nice in that it's big and it's something to hold on to, but this thing, it rattles a lot when you hit wakes, and it's because it's a multi-piece railing and screws and stuff. And I've never seen a Montauk that has a bow rail that's in good shape, with the exception of the later ones. Again, I think in 1988 they became welded one-piece bow rails, and they were better. So let's see here. Let me flip around and I'll show you where I'm sitting on. So right here what you have is you have a cooler. In the old days, this boat came with an 86 quart Igloo cooler. They don't make the 86 anymore. So this is actually, I don't even know what it is. I want to say it's a 94, but I'm gonna probably replace that with a Yeti or an Angle cooler. It's maybe a little bit better, a little bit lower, whatever. Also, you'll notice here you see some of these rod holders. There's 6 rod holders with cushions, so they're super comfortable. This is a great grab rail. This is called the Shepherd's Crook, and This grab rail right here it's just great. That's a nice benefit to this boat, is there's always something to hold on to, which is important, and it's a good safety feature. But this railing is great. The console doesn't have a lot of storage, but it's a good looking console. It's got, this one has the teak doors that are varnished for access. Very simple, very clean, not a ton of gauges. I mean, pretty much lights, horn, the compass light. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'll probably put a depth sounder on this boat eventually, and I might even repower it. Just depends on the motor. That's for the fire extinguisher. I have it. It's in the console. I just haven't mounted it in there yet. This is from a antenna mount that we had when I was younger. Then this is a really cool feature. Let me back this up here. So what this is a reversible pilot seat. Let me flip this back and forth. Oh, it's a little harder. So this is cool if you have water skiers behind you. You can look back and stuff. Or it's a great leaning post. So if you're driving the boat, you know, it works perfect. I can just sit on it, and it's comfortable, and it's really cool. So it's nice to have this leaning post. Underneath is kind of wasted space. I mean, one of the big benefits to these Montauks is that they don't have internal fuel tanks. So the benefit is that you can actually take this boat and you can take the gas tanks, put them in the back of your truck or your car, and just go to a gas station and fill them with regular gasoline. Preferably not ethanol, just wreck fuel would be ideal. That's what all boats really need. Otherwise you have potential for internal damage to motors and tanks. But the point is that it's real easy. You don't have to necessarily fuel up at a marina. But they do make, I forget the manufacturers, but there's a couple manufacturers that make larger tanks that fit underneath this leaning post, the seat. So, you know, I'm gonna get one of those, I think, as well, because this is only 12 gallons and 20, I think the tanks that they make are 24 gallons, so it's a big difference. And that'll probably last for weeks if you get the bigger tank. Looking back here, it's actually some great space for fishing and just whatever, water sports, storing stuff, things like that. On this boat, I'm gonna get an angle cooler. I have an angle cooler on the Hughes. I think it's an angle 35, and it's perfect for back here. Put a seat cushion on it, and it's just more storage and more space for seating, because that is the negative on this boat. This boat right now really only has seating for 4 people. So there's not a lot of seating and there's not a lot of storage. The only storage is going to be under the bow locker and inside the console. So by adding a cooler in the back, it's great because you can put drinks and stuff in there. You can put other things in the cooler instead of that. You also have 2 more spaces, or 2 more seats for people. So it's kind of nice. Okay guys, now the #1 reason why these boats and Boston Whaler in general is so well known is because all the boats that Boston Whaler makes, including this one, are unsinkable. You can never sink them no matter what. I've heard stories and seen pictures of people who have rolled these boats completely over. They've been able to flip them back over, and some have even driven home that same day, or at least been towed home. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I've seen it firsthand when I was in Miami when I was a kid. I saw a fishermen coming in on a Sport 13, and they were coming in Key Biscayne, and I was in Cutler Hammock, Cutler Ridge, that area, and they were coming in at one of these community boat ramps, and they had the whole boat filled to the gunnels with water, and they were still driving the boat, and they drove it all the way to the ramp full of water, and what had happened is that they had hit a submerged steel pipe that was underwater, but you couldn't see it, and it gashed a hole down the whole center of the boat, and the boat filled up, but they kept on driving. So it's a real testament to the design of these boats and the safety. So these are great boats for people who are really safety conscious, but that is the #1 thing. The #2 thing that these are so popular for is because they're just so simple. There's not a lot of parts to it. There's not a lot of things that can break. You know, it's literally an engine, an ignition, and lights. That's pretty much it. The engine itself, you don't need a big engine. It's simple, easy to work on. The other thing is that there's not a lot of through hulls. If you noticed, a lot of boats that have problems, a lot of boats that take on water or sink, it's usually through hulls, whether it's holes in the hull that allow water to get into the live wells, or you know, anything, seacocks. You know, the bigger the boat, the more they have, like for coolants and everything else. That's where a lot of this stuff usually, a lot of these things cause problems. So this doesn't have really any of that. The only through hull on this boat is down here, right here. And I'll show you here in a little bit when I leave how this works. But basically what happens is that right now it's closed. But if I open that, it'll fill up with water, but it'll only fill up with water so much just because of the buoyancy of the boat. It only goes pretty much to about here, the fuel tank's back. And the benefit to that is that if you have a boat and you're in, and you have it on a mooring, say up in New England or something, and you know, you go back to work for the week and you come back to the vacation home on the weekend, and you've had the boat out there all week and it rained, the boat will fill up with water if you don't have it'll fill up with water if you don't have the plug out. If you take the plug out, yeah, the back fills up a little bit, maybe an inch high, but that's it. It'll never go any more than that. So it's really great when you leave a boat to keep the plug open if it's in the water. You can put bilge pumps in here, but again, it's just one more thing to break, and bilge pumps always break. That's pretty much it. So hope you like the boat. I'll show you the outside here in a second, and talk to you later. Because I'm not in a really great area to do a walk around here of the boat, I'm going to show you a walk around video that I made just a few weeks ago, and you can really see the outside of the boat and how it looks. So enjoy that, and I'll talk to you guys later.